you would like turn me over and you'd look at me with like these sparkling eyes and you'd just be like, I love you so much. And
Oh man, that's so sweet.
like, it was really super sweet. And I was like kind of sad when I realized eventually that you were always only sleep talking.
Oh man.
This episode of Merriment is brought to you by coffee, preferably piping hot and in a mug, but sometimes all over the counter when you wake up because you didn't put the filter in correctly last night when you were programming the coffee maker. I'm your host, Carly Jensen, and this week the old hubs Johnny and I are a little extra tired because we took turns living it up like we used to and stayed out a little too late. And our baby still woke up at 6 a.m. What the heck? In this episode, we're talking about Johnny's newfound talent of moving in his sleep, like in weird ways. We discuss theories of where Tupperware lids and socks disappear to, and then we get conspiratorial as we talk about Facebook listening in. Creepy. Thanks for joining in the Merriment, and hit the subscribe button to get us in your life weekly. There we go.
It's too
All
late.
right. I'm comfy, Johnny. I'm super comfy.
I'm ready to go. I got my favorite bird shirt on.
Yeah, you look hot.
Wow, you look hot.
Ooh, what? My like fuzzy comfy sweater.
You got a fuzzy comfy sweater and you got your slips on.
Yeah.
We're ready to rock. By the way,
We are not talking about some sexy slip. We're talking about my slippers.
your slippers. Sexy slip. Is that like when you write like a sexy note and you like slip it to the person?
It should be.
Yeah. It's a sexy slip.
No, I feel like slip is not really used anymore as a word, but I remember like in my mom's heyday when I was a kid, a slip was like the like silky thin dress that goes under a regular dress. I don't know why you had slips. I know I've needed slips during times where I was wearing like a somewhat see-through dress, but that was totally not my mom's era, so I don't know why they needed slips.
Huh. Why? When I think of slip, I think of like something you write on a slip.
That's also a slip, yeah.
Is it
Great job.
The word slip is so weird to me right now. It's like I bet you could also slip on a slippery surface.
Man. This is bringing me back to the time I forgot what a chin was. I was like, chin? That's such a weird word.
Yeah, chin. It's also a name.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Somewhere.
I know somebody named Ed Chin. Shout out Ed Chin on LinkedIn.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'll have to share this with him.
Yeah. No.
Check it out. We talked about you.
He's checked about you. No, he won't care. Maybe he would. I don't know. I don't know him that well. Maybe Ed Chin is sitting here right now listening and is so surprised that we gave him a shout out.
You know what's crazy is we'll actually never know who's listening. I mean, the people who comment and stuff will know, but other than that, like we cannot know.
Nope. And we should
whether, the Prime Minister of Canada is listening.
Yeah, and Justin, if you are, you got a really great bod.
Johnny's got a crush on you. I want to see his party trick in my house.
Oh, where he falls down the stairs?
Oh. I don't know why people aren't more impressed by that. Like so far, what I have encountered from people is they just forget all about his party trick. And I'm like, have you seen? That guy's got a mad sense of humor, man. Like he's committed.
He's committed. Yeah. Okay, are we ready to start?
Yeah, let's start this thing.
Okay.
So
episode 2.
Yeah, I'm double fisting. It's been a while for me. As you can tell, I'm a little rusty at this game. I'm drinking tea and scotch.
Tea and scotch, not mixed. No,
I wouldn't mix scotch with tea. Maybe like bourbon
is that
or some
a drink?
whiskey.
Maybe that is a drink.
Scotch and tea.
Yeah.
And maybe in Scotland. I feel like scotch must just be so regular in Scotland that you would just mix it with tea. Just like, just
put a little bit of
scotch in there. Whereas for us, we're just like, ooh, let's sip this really slow. No ice to ruin the flavor.
Yeah, I think that's called neat.
So this is really nice stuff.
Yeah, it's delicious.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Did you open the curtains last night?
No.
Because this morning it was actually pretty bright in the room. We've got like blackout curtains in our bedroom, and Johnny's been sleep moving lately. And there was that one night where
wait, were they actually open this
Not
morning?
like all the way open. They were just like open a little bit. So I thought maybe you did it again, but Johnny's been like getting up out of bed and doing things, or sometimes just doing things in bed. So like he got up and he started opening the curtains in the middle of the night, and I'm just like, Johnny, what are you doing? It's like loud. Our son is in bed with us, and I'm like terrified of him waking up. And you were just like, I don't think you told me why you were doing it. You just all of a sudden realized what you were doing and got back into bed, and then you were like, oh, the curtains are open, and you got up and you closed them.
Really? Yeah. Oh man, I have no memory of any of that stuff.
It's so weird though. Like,
it's bizarre.
It's actually it's like slightly troubling, just slightly, because you used to be a sleep talker, and then we had a baby, and now you're a sleep mover
or sleepwalker.
Yeah,
or sleep mover.
Sleep mover, like you haven't walked out of the bedroom.
Sometimes I have vague memories. Like the other day or the other night, I grabbed the iPad and I moved it next to my bed.
And then in the morning, you're like, why is the iPad next to my side of the bed? Because we have like a noise machine on the iPad that we use.
But at the time, it was really important that I needed to use that iPad for something.
And as you were moving it, didn't you say like it was integrated into your dream?
Yeah.
That you're getting it, and you're like, why is it so noisy?
Yeah, why is it so noisy? And it was broken or something, but I thought that I'd like keep it next to me just in case. So crazy.
But the funny thing is, like, you've actually interacted with Forrest in the middle of the night, like sleep moving. So there was that one time that you reached over me and you lifted him up and you were trying to bring him over to your side of the bed. I guess, like, no, I don't know if you were actually aware in any way of what you were doing. But later you were like, I think maybe he might have been close to the edge of the bed and I was nervous or worried, which would make sense.
No, it makes sense. No memory of it,
But then there was the other time, the other night. Yeah, I'm just in the middle of the night. I look over and you are going, hey, buddy. Hey, what how's it going? What you doing? And like, you're just having the blast with Forrest, and you have lifted him up to be like propped up against you, like sitting up, but he's still asleep. So his head is like lolling to the side, and he's still sleeping, and you're just going, hey, buddy.
Oh man.
And I was like, Johnny, what are you doing?
I'm really happy that I'm kind of like a nice sleep walker, because I've heard of some people who have night terrors and they just like huck the lamp across the room.
So that's the encouraging thing to me, is you're always doing like really loving things. Like, actually, the way that you would sleep talk before Forrest was born is you'd just like tell me. This is so funny. You would like turn me over and you'd look at me with like these sparkling eyes and you'd just be like, I love you so much. And
oh man, that's so sweet.
Like, it was really super sweet, and I was like kind of sad when I realized eventually that you were always only sleep talking.
Oh man,
it's not like real. Johnny isn't really like in his right mind. He wouldn't actually be waking me up in the middle of the night to tell me with sparkling eyes that he loves me so much.
Well, it is something I should do more. It's very romantic.
It's lovely, absolutely.
The creepy thing is like who am I actually talking to? You know?
I think you are talking to me. It's probably just like the super subconscious Johnny. So I still kind of took it as a compliment, but just like the fact that you couldn't remember it the next day was a little disappointing.
Dreams are they're so bizarre. And especially when I kind of remember myself in the middle of those motions, like the other night with the iPad, it's so foggy now I can't remember it, but there's definitely things on the screen. And
you're still kind of aware. It's like tunnel vision.
It was like a mission. I had something I had to do. And there was a malfunction. But for those of you who don't know, which you don't, is our iPad has a noisemaker on it. That's why
I mentioned that, so some people who listened might actually know. See, Johnny, this is like there's just some things that zip right through your head, like one ear and out the other.
Yeah. My mom always said I had selective hearing.
That's not a new saying.
No.
A lot of people are accused of that, especially when they're teenagers. But yours has just continued through your whole life.
Yeah. It's not good. I'm trying to work on it, though.
You've been really good lately, actually. Yeah. You've been taking your lion's mane.
I've been taking my brain pills, lion's mane mushrooms. I'm
super fascinated by this. Like, not fascinated enough to listen to the podcasts that you've been listening to about it. I'm just not diligent enough. But yeah, you've been seriously going down this road of like learning how mushrooms can help us.
Yeah, absolutely. These lion's mane mushrooms, from what I've heard, are really amazing for nerve growth, and they're great for memory. And so for the last few months, I've been taking them, and they have been very effective.
It's specifically lion's mane mushrooms.
Lion's mane mushrooms. No, not just any mushroom you see on the ground.
Wasn't there something about how this actually is showing signs of being very helpful for Alzheimer's, to stave off Alzheimer's?
Yes. I mean, there have been a few studies. Don't quote me on any of this. It's just stuff that I've heard.
Look into it, though, if it sounds interesting to you.
Absolutely. which is apparently my favorite word.
Absolutely. Yeah, we found this out from the last podcast that's the thing you say all the time.
But now I'm so hyper self-aware of it every time I say it.
Don't be. Who cares if you say absolutely all the time?
It's a good thing to say all the absolutely. It's a very agree. What do I mean when I say absolutely?
It's like a resolved agreement.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no question.
Like just no
End of
question.
story. Stop talking. No.
Just absolutely.
Yeah.
And just it feels good to say it too. Just
especially
I'm
when
with you.
Especially when you make that good point.
Yeah.
That like literal good point. You're using your hand. Just be like, absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, it feels good. I like good words, strong words like that. Like absolutely or right on. I've been saying that a lot.
You've been doing that lately, which
that's a new one.
I really like it.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
When you adopt words, like it really, you get saturated in it. Like sometimes I'll use a new word and then you're like, what does that mean? And then in the next like 2 days, I'll hear you use it like 5 times. Really, good. Really like adamantly too. Like this word's been in my vocabulary for years. Like it reminds me of when I was a kid and when you just like learn, like a cool saying that the other kids are saying and you start to use it all the time and it feels awesome because you're just like, yes, I just got this new saying, like no offense.
Oh, no offense.
Yeah.
No offense. I used that wrong before. I would always use that kind of like the Canadian way of saying sorry. I'd just overuse it all the time. And I remember using it like after compliments, kind of like bashfully. I'd be like, you're really great. No offense.
The growing pains of figuring out how to talk as a teenager.
There's one I always have in my back pocket ever since I was a kid, and it's if somebody says like, I don't know why anybody would say this, but if somebody's ever saying I'm super strong, like I'm so strong, you just say, yeah, but smell isn't everything.
You've been gathering dad jokes your entire life.
But that one I've been just waiting. I've been waiting for the perfect moment, and there's been a few times that are forced.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, there's been times where you've said I'm super strong and then you're waiting for me to say smell isn't everything. Yeah. And I completely miss it. I totally forget. And then you're like, you're supposed to say smell isn't everything.
I know. It's very important to me that I don't know. That just sticks to me. It's like a little mind virus. Just it's gotten in there. I need to get it out somehow. I think the way to get it out and to exercise it is I need to find the perfect moment.
Right. I bet that you as Forrest continues to grow older, you'll be able to kind of train him and you guys can kind of do it together.
Yeah.
So even maybe you'll live vicariously through him. Maybe you will never actually find the perfect moment in your life. And so you will always be imposing the search for that perfect moment on Forrest and Forrest will resent you for it.
Yeah. I will definitely pass my mind viruses on to him. And I think that's a big part of parenting is we all have mind viruses and they are highly contagious to our children. And coworkers.
Is the dishwasher on?
The dishwasher is just finishing. It's just draining.
That's probably a bad idea.
Yeah, I mean.
Let's
just wait it out. No,
I don't think that's necessary.
I don't think it's
going to go for a while.
Yeah, we'll hear it. Oh,
wow. Domestic podcasts, 101.
Domestic podcasts, yeah.
So I think I want to talk to you about something, Johnny. I think that we need to sort out maybe some anger issues that you have these days. I think like twice in the past week you've ripped up an item of clothing because you're not sure what to do with it.
Oh man.
You're just should I keep this or should I get rid of it? I don't know. Ooh,
I had that urge. I had that urge today. What was it before?
It was a sock.
No. Today was with my gloves.
Oh my gosh, that's the second time in one day. It's getting worse.
Yeah, and I just saw my gloves. And they just weren't fitting right. And I was like, if I just rip them, then I don't have to.
This is a new thing. You gave into it once. You're like a dog that's tasted blood. And now
no, I'm just
you're going to go kill a sheep or something.
Yeah, if I don't like something and it's like you have an item of clothing that you're just okay with, or you have that sock that has like a little hole in it, but you don't want to get rid of it because the other one's fine. You just like get it over with, just rip that, make that hole really big. Same with a shirt. If there's a shirt that you just it bugs you, just tear it off.
That's great advice.
Preferably while you wear it, because then you can it feels really good to do something reckless like that once in a while.
Yeah. I think that's pretty good advice because I recently learned that Feng Shui teaches that if there's something that annoys you, like, belonging or something in your house, you got to get rid of it because it's bad feng shui. So, your socks is annoying you and you are too indecisive to make that call. I think in the future, maybe you could just think about feng shui and recognize like, this is annoying me. And you don't have to rip it. But if you're going to get rid of it anyway, you might as well.
In that moment, I'm not thinking properly. I'm
that's
usually
fine,
dealing with my sock drawer, which is also a very anxiety-inducing experience because so many socks that they don't have a partner and I don't know what to do with it. And that's when they get ripped as well if I can't find the partner. But that's such a mystery because it's like maybe it'll turn up and you have your favorite socks. I'm pretty sure I have a bunch of socks that they're just waiting for their partner.
I swear that there's like there's probably some kind of like wormhole or something that socks and mismatched Tupperwares and lids go to that we are never going to find. And it is a huge mystery. Like I sort through our Tupperwares probably once every couple months and get rid of all the ones that don't have matching lids or, lids that don't have matching bottoms and get rid of them. Because what's the point? It's bad feng shui. And then like a month or two later, you just start noticing, you're like, where's the lid to this? It's gone. You put it in the dishwasher and it never came out. I think that the wormhole's actually in the dishwasher and in the washing machine. Yeah.
Wow.
That's what it is.
Maybe it's one of those things that we need to investigate more of. Kind of like that Mandela effect or the Berenstein and Berenstein.
Oh, yeah.
Thing. Yeah. I don't know about that. I just think, I don't know. I just feel like we're so... We just like to go with weird things.
This like, Berenstein and Berenstain thing that you're talking about, that's like when people have to face the facts that it's spelled Berenstain, not Berenstein, right? And they're just like, what? This whole time it was Berenstain? I could have sworn. And everybody's just like adamant that it was Berenstein, like Stein their whole life.
Yeah, and people say that, we slipped through a wormhole or there's, all this weird stuff happens. I just think people love conspiracies. That's why people believe that the world is flat. It feels really good to be all of a sudden think that like, oh my gosh, everybody's wrong.
Because here's the thing is like, I think that in the world there actually is a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
Not necessarily like conspiracy things without it was, intentional, but that we like need to think for ourselves a little bit more. And, there's lots of foods out there that are approved and lots of chemicals that are out there that are actually really super harmful for us. And like I've started to realize, okay, so there's this like stuff on receipts that can cause kids to have ADHD and my kid's chewing on a receipt. That is freaky. Why is that allowed? But we just have to do a bit more of our own due diligence. So it's kind of like that whole think for yourself a little bit. Yes, there are, we shouldn't just be sheep, but probably, the earth isn't flat.
No, but it might be.
You know what? I'm not gonna poo-poo anybody's ideas about things
because it feels good. If you want to believe the world is flat, you go for it. Just don't be in charge of anything important.
And don't talk to too many people about it.
Yeah. Well, you can talk to your other flat earther people.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a fun club. I would totally. It's just like people who play Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
You have all your theories. Or maybe it's not. I don't want. I don't want to lump people.
What was that
categories.
connection you were making there? I'm really curious to know.
Well, it's just a bunch of people get together and they really get really involved with some made up stuff. Mm-hmm. And I think it's like the same thing. You all kind of create these worlds for yourselves.
I think that we can all get super excited as soon as we have a bunch of people agreeing with us that you all think the same way, which I think is why Facebook is so dangerous lately.
Yeah. Oh,
and like just the internet in general, because all of these algorithms are finding out what we like, and then they're feeding us just the stuff that we like, and then we're not actually getting a really unbiased, dynamic picture of what's out there. We're only seeing like what, reflections of what we believe.
That's been really troubling me lately. And just realizing it, how it's happening, and they really have control over your dopamine in your brain. Like they really understand everything that they do is connected to a dopamine hit in your brain, and they send you on these loops, these feedback loops. I always think of what came first. Are they looking at our behavior and tracking it, and then kind of giving us content based on our current behavior, or are they creating behavior patterns and then using that to sell more advertising? Mm-hmm. Because they have gotten in trouble, Facebook, in the past for performing social experiments, or like emotional experiments. So they would give people like a very strategic post pattern, I guess.
Yeah, like they're manipulating their feed.
Yeah, exactly. So they would like give a certain demographic only these type of posts, and then kind of measure what type of posts they would do afterwards, just to collect all that data and put it in their algorithms.
Basically to see like how are we affecting people's behavior. They were studying that.
Yeah. But and that's incredibly profitable, right? Because if you can really nail down people's behavior patterns and understand the psychology of all of their decisions that they're making on social media, then you're definitely going to know when they're going to be most vulnerable to an ad. Mm-hmm. So they can sell that information to agencies. And
you know what's so creepy about this too is I'm actually like a little bit nervous. I think I'm signed into Facebook on this computer right now, and I'm a little bit nervous that Facebook is listening in.
Oh yeah, they could be.
They absolutely could be
right now.
I mean, and how far could they go if they hear something that they don't like? Like we're kind of like poo-pooing Facebook right now, and what if they're just like, ooh, we're going to bury this podcast, nobody's going to hear that podcast.
But the crazy thing is we're still going to use Facebook. It's not like what can we do? We're not going to influence people. People are talking about this all over the place.
Right, that's true.
But we're so addicted to it. It's like how I
don't think it's just addicted. Like there are some people who are addicted.
Yeah.
There are other people who are using it very well regulated. They know how to, use it.
But you can say the same thing with like smoking. There's some people who have, they just like have like a couple of smokes a day and they're like, I'm not addicted. But all those people who are regulating it, tell them to stop. They won't. They can't.
Okay. So your theory is that anybody who uses Facebook is actually secretly addicted to it.
I don't know about that, but I think that it's incredibly addictive.
I agree. I do think that some people can use it without actually being addicted to it, but it's still super creepy because Facebook can just... the context for this conversation is recently we talked to somebody who their friends were doing an experiment on Facebook. They talked out loud around their computer about needing cat food, and they don't have a cat. So this was like literally something that there's no other way that their computer would know that they need cat food, because they're not searching anything about cats or cat food. They're just talking about it in their living room around their computer, said cat food numerous times in their conversation, and a couple of days later, cat food ads came up on their Facebook feed.
That's so creepy.
You know what else is creepy is I was talking about spud.ca recently to some people, and now those ads are on my Facebook.
What's spud.ca?
It's just like an urban delivery. It's like a produce urban delivery thing. Oh. The bin comes to your door.
Right on.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah, we definitely live in a really weird world, and this is what I think too. Like as soon as we think we understand social media and we understand these platforms, we don't, because these giant organizations are talent starving the industry. They're like hiring the smartest people around the world, mm-hmm. and they're spending all of their time making these algorithms and these like learning systems to kind of run themselves. So like YouTube, for example, it's not like there's people that are, programming it. It's machine learning. It's kind of developing itself.
What? Crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. Like people, we don't really have control over it, mm-hmm. over the internet right now. All we can do is just like put more data into the artificial intelligence that's feeding us all of the content.
Yeah, man. When we were talking about conspiracies, I feel like this is the type of shit where conspiracies come from, because there's so much going on in this world that has to do with us that we don't know about.
Yeah.
Because it's just actually so much to learn. It's so much detail to know. Like I just clicked I agree on 2 different licensing agreements today that I don't know what it said. It was like read the fine print and click I agree. Like how many of us just check the box and press I agree because we don't have time to read through the terms and conditions?
Yeah, I do.
And so like that's going on in life. There's so much stuff that's going on that affects our lives that we don't pay attention to. There's politics, there's, all the Facebook stuff, like social media is so permeated into our life right now, and internet stuff. It's probably like it's the fastest growing thing, I think, in probably the human race ever, because of how quickly it has integrated into our lives.
It's amazing how normal it became.
Yeah,
it's just
so
like,
fast.
It's just, yeah. And we just welcomed it into our lives.
I wonder if that has something to do with just like how well tailored it is to us psychologically. Like there are so many brains behind making these things for us to be suited for us. Marketing is, it's such a superpower now. And it's so well tailored to the human brain to, be adopted by us that it just blew up so quick because people are smart and they've been putting their powers to hopefully good, but possibly evil.
Yeah. My problem with it is it doesn't, there's not very much opportunity for growth and new perspective because there are these feedback loops and it's just giving you...
What do they call it? An echo chamber?
Yeah, it's an echo chamber. Or a feedback loop where it's just serving you stuff you already know or, confirmation bias. It's giving you clues or like giving you... Yeah, so like if you only, let's say if you only watch flat earth stuff on YouTube and those are the conversations you're having on Facebook, it's gonna seem like everybody's into it.
Totally.
Or like way more. It's like way more big of the bigger.
It also makes me think like it's dangerous because a mob mentality can form when you have lots of people all agreeing on the same thing, and there are a lot of people with extreme closed-minded opinions or hateful opinions, especially lately. And if they're on their Facebook and they see all the other people who are their Facebook friends, who are probably like a small percentage of their Facebook friends, but all of their hateful posts are all showing up as well. And it just kind of exacerbates the problem. I mean, I know that Facebook monitors really hateful and aggressive stuff, but what about like the microaggressive stuff that is just, somebody posting a hat that says, "Fuck you, Trudeau." And you're just like, oh, that's a little bit harsh. But
have you seen that?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm not going to say who, but...
Wow.
Yeah, no, just somebody close to me.
But I think that's, that stuff's fine as long as there's a conversation, because I think that it's important. I was listening to some today on how it's important to have disagreements and it's important for people to disagree with you because that's a sign of a free society. If everybody agreed on everything, that's when it would be kind of really dangerous. And
totally.
It's like you got
actually, and if we keep getting these echo chambers, we're actually not going to know how to disagree with each other as well anymore because we're so used to just being agreed with because we only see the stuff that we agree with.
Oh yeah, especially in like a dystopian future where all of our social behavior is online.
Get on it, Black Mirror.
Get on a Black Mirror. Well, it's pretty much there.
No, but that specific topic, nobody can disagree with each other because it's just like so uncomfortable. They don't know how to deal with it.
I think there is an episode. You just haven't seen every single Black Mirror.
That's true.
I shelter Carly from the really dark ones.
I'm like, okay, babe, you watch the Black Mirror before I do and tell me which ones are too dark.
Yeah. Great show if you haven't
I hope
seen it.
Everybody actually has a Johnny in their life to do that for them with Black Mirror.
I'll happily.
Some of that stuff is so depressing.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but the social media one, okay, well, I'm sure there's numerous social media ones, but the one with all the likes and like you get a point rating system.
It's episode 1 of season 3.
Yeah. That one, I was just like hopeless at the end. I think because it was just it was too close to our world right now. It was just like one level, then just one next level from where we are right now. And it was just like, in the end, it doesn't seem hopeful at all. She goes to jail and for acting against it, and her entire life is ruined. You're just like, oh, so if you rebel against this like creepy way that social media is ruling your life's just going to fall apart and you're going to be the only crazy person in society.
Yeah, but then like it's not like she's in jail forever. She had a release. Maybe we don't know what happened afterwards. Maybe
but they didn't show us that part.
No.
So
Well, we saw the release, She was
like
the
not the literal release from jail, but like the emotional release.
The emotional release, and that probably is gonna, because I think there's a character like the truck driver that she meets.
Yeah,
she might end up more like a much happier.
But ultimately,
person.
She's still like scum of society as far as most people are concerned.
Yeah, but it's interesting though, because like if you think on a global scale, like we live in where we are right now, we are incredibly privileged. And I feel like our standards for happiness is much higher than somebody, let's say, in like Laos.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and we've been there, and a lot of those people, their capacity to be happy is much greater. Like they can be a lot more happy with the smallest little things.
Yeah. But I mean, I chalk that up to we don't have to work as hard to survive here, or at least as far as like our biological evolution is concerned, finding food, finding shelter, staying safe from predators or elements, things like that. We don't really have to deal with that anymore. And so we just like the human condition is to suffer in some way. And so we just suffer in these new ways. We have way higher standards of living that just make it feel like we're not surviving because we don't have enough money to buy Christmas presents or, buy this club soda that we used to have all the time. And now we're broke, so we can't. And it's like, oh man, my life is so hard right now.
Yeah.
But it's just contextual, right? Like it's all relative. But I mean, you go to Laos, we were riding a motorcycle through the mountains of Laos, and these village people live in bamboo huts. They don't have heat or hot water. They don't have a whole whack load of things that we have. They've got like a fire pit inside of their house, and that's, how they stay warm and cook their food. And they are so happy. And the crazy thing is they're so generous too.
Oh, yeah.
And they're running out of their houses to wave hello to us. And you're just like, plus also you see them working their asses off. They're hauling these big bags of rice on their back up the mountain. Just like you can tell they're like, today's the day we go get rice. Mm-hmm. And that is the thing. But then they chill the F out. They are hanging out. They're having such a good time together. They're all just like sitting around a fire, poking at it. Oh, I guess I'll go make some food. That's kind of what their life is. It's not nearly as much work as we have, but it's definitely very hard work for the survival factors. And then they have a nice time together. So, and you worked hard for that relaxed time.
Suffering is kind of worth it. Like I know for me, in any real creative pursuit that means something to me, there's always a dark period when it's like this. It's like my own personal story arc for that project, and I get so low and I feel so hopeless. And
Isn't it crazy how some of the best stuff comes out of when you are feeling so crappy?
Yeah, I mean, having a kid is, case in point.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard, but it's amazing. And I don't think it would be as amazing if it wasn't as hard.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a fact of life.
It's funny though, like, to what you're saying about when we are hitting such a hard time in order for these creative things to come out. I just think about the song that I wrote for Forrest. When I was pregnant with Forrest, I wrote a song for him that, just playing on the ukulele, singing a song. And it was when we were camping, and your dad just like, I wasn't like a super irritable pregnant person, but I was, I'm not immune to hormones, and your dad just like really ticked me off at one point, and I just had to leave, and I took off, and I didn't say to anybody where I was going, and I just like sat and I wrote a song, and now this is a song that I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. But your dad had to tick me off, like really, like the reason I had to walk away is because my face was red and I was about to cry because I was so mad.
Oh man. Yeah.
Oh, that's the stuff that has to happen sometimes for
It was
the good
just
things to come.
It was just like being a little bit annoying. I think he was getting the dogs all riled up, and you just didn't.
I was trying to relax. We're like all sitting on chairs in the grass, looking out at the lake, and being like, "Isn't this a nice time?" Except that we have one crazy dog with us that like has this insane like demon bark whenever she sees a ball, and your dad kept throwing the ball, and she was also she was like chained up to one of the lawn chairs that nobody was in, so every time somebody threw a ball, she would like run and pull the chair with her a little bit, and she was like choking and this barking, and anyway, so I was like, you guys, can we just not do this anymore? I'm trying to relax. And then he threw the ball again, and I was just like, I'm out of here. See ya.
And that song was born. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, you gotta, it's just like the birthing process is so hard, but it's like that analogy can be used for so many things.
Oh my gosh, like it's crazy to me how many parallels there are from labor to parenting, like all of the endurance that you have to have when you're in labor it's like it's setting you up for months and months of that in a different kind of way as a parent.
Crazy.
Yeah. But like because labor is so intense and all at once in the span of 24 hours or however long it takes for you, you have to learn lessons really fast. You're like, okay, how am I going to deal with this? It's like sink or swim. So you start to adopt these philosophies about like, just diving through it and how you're dealing with the pain and how you're dealing with, these issues that you're going through that are so crazy. And if you can make those connections once you're a parent and you're like just slagging through the mud when you're trying to put your baby to sleep or having breastfeeding problems or whatever it may be, you just
think
like
back.
Yeah, you just like, wait a minute, this feeling is familiar. It's not the same because I don't have physical pain, but I can use what happened in labor for this right here.
Yeah, I guess I could relate to that on a different level because the day that Forrest was born, I was recovering from a horrible hangover.
I love this story so much.
So bad.
So when I went into labor,
that night, first let's backtrack. So my buddy Kyle was over, and I hadn't seen him in a while, and
this was like your last hurrah.
Yeah, it was kind of like my last hurrah. You were. It was like 10 days until the due date. And
yeah.
We had some beers, and I decided I got some moonshine.
You guys had a lot of beers, didn't you?
Yeah.
Have like 10 beers.
Yeah,
and
like
I had
that.
said like, Johnny, you guys, and I was present too, but I'm just drinking like club soda and clam, which by the way, great replacement for beer and clam or like any kind of alcoholic beverage when you're pregnant. So
yeah,
go for it. But yeah, we're playing cards. We're having a good time. You're drinking a ton of drinks and just like going nuts.
Yeah, and then you go to bed, and then I decide to bring out the moonshine.
I actually remember though,
for
after I
Christmas.
went to bed, I got back up and I came out and I said to you guys, just so you know, Johnny, because it was like 1:30 in the morning when I went to bed, and I was like, we'd had a long day because we went to Costco, and I think we went to IKEA too. We'd just been walking around all day, and I was feeling like some serious pressure happening down in my pelvic region, and just like the baby was super active. So I came back out of the bedroom after going to bed, and I was like, Johnny, just so you know, I don't know, like something's been going on. Maybe this baby might be coming tonight. Just saying, maybe not. I might be way off, but you might want to just like move forward with that in mind, that this could be the time.
Kyle and I are just broing out so much. Like we're just like, I love you, man. And we're just like, we're hugging each other, and we're just like having such an emotional connection. And then especially after the moonshine, and then it was great. And then you came out of the room and you're like, my water broke. And I was like, oh.
I think it was more like, I think my water broke.
And I was like, oh no. And so the first thing I did was just throw up. I just went to the bathroom and I forced myself to throw up.
Oh, I love that.
Drank water and called my mom. And my mom said, are you drunk?
Because you're just like, Mom.
Well, she said, I don't remember, but she said, I was like, oh, I'm so happy. And Kyle's here, and I love Kyle.
You're just going on and on about how much you love Kyle.
And Kyle's going to be here for my son's birth, which he wasn't.
No. Because, labor takes a while, and it was like noon when he's like, I think I'm going to go.
Yeah. But man, then that next day I'm so happy we had all the help that we had. And I'm so happy we didn't have to drive to the hospital.
Yeah, that was awesome. Because it was super snowy. If you live like in the lower mainland, Vancouver region in Canada, it was super snowstorm last February, which is when Forrest was born. And it was like, once again, we were just getting pummeled with this crazy snow. And we didn't have to drive in it. Ha ha. But our midwives did.
Yeah, and doula. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we had a home birth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
Highly recommend it. So if you're in the right situation and are comfortable with it.
Yeah. It's interesting because I personally would absolutely do the home birth again. Like, it was such an awesome experience. As awesome as labor can be. It was crazy, but awesome. Mm-hmm. But a lot of women that I know who have delivered in hospital, like for instance, the hospital that I would have delivered at if it wasn't here, BC Women's Hospital, they've had such good experiences because it's like a wonderful hospital. It's made to help you feel comfortable and all of these things. And a lot of women that I've spoken to say, I actually feel more comfortable being in a hospital than I would at home, just for, worried reasons, you know what I mean? Or they want to feel really well taken care of. So ultimately, I think wherever you feel like really comfortable is what's important, because the mind-body connection is so crazy. Like if you are in labor and you venture out of your home and you feel nervous about it, that can actually slow and even stop your labor, because your body is just like, we're still like functioning on our biological evolutionary instincts from like 25,000 years ago. So, you wouldn't leave the cave
or more
or more. Yeah. You wouldn't leave the cave when you're in labor because there are all these dangers and predators, right? You'd stay in the cave. So your body's like, oh, we have left home base. We should probably wait till we're back in a safe place. And so it slows the labor a lot of the times and can become a problem. So
yeah, I agree. I'm going to do a pause because I want to give myself a little bit more scotch.
I would love some more scotch. We're switching scotches. Na 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 na. Thanks. Ooh, yeah, that was a healthy dose. I know. I've been tired for ages.
Jeez,
I've been tired for like 11 months.
Oh yeah, I guess so.
So we're on Scotch 2. This one was brought back from Scotland for us, wasn't it?
Yeah, from Scotland. So it's delicious.
Authentic.
Yeah. The Glenrothes.
Although this other one that we were drinking actually says product of Scotland on it, so it's probably not
any
a good
Scotch proper Scotch always comes from Scotland. Otherwise, it's whiskey.
Oh, really? Is it really just about where it came from?
Yeah.
No. So
yeah, you can't get Scotch that isn't from Scotland.
I'm confused though. Like, isn't it
really
about
fine whiskeys?
Yeah, but
like Japanese whiskey is really delicious, and it's just like as good as Scotch, but it can't be Scotch if it's not from Scotland.
What? Okay, but what if it's made the exact same way?
Yeah, no, it's not Scotch.
What? That's
Yeah.
absurd.
It's not absurd. It's
Okay,
culture.
but what if you're like, oh man, I love Scotch so much, and so you don't drink whiskey, but it's like it's the same thing.
It's the same. Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I don't know enough about it.
Another one of those conspiracies.
Yeah. I just know that I like drinking it. And to speak about conspiracies, I was going to say this before. I think conspiracies happen when people try to understand something that they just don't understand, or they oversimplify something that they can't wrap their head around.
Yeah, I feel like oversimplification is one of the biggest inhibitors of like actual growth.
Because like I've been with my work, I've been interviewing actual scientists, and their view of the world is much more broad. Like their perspective is nothing is ever black and white. The more information you have, the more learning you do, the more you realize that it's not black and white. It's this beautiful shade of gray. Come on, Will, get out of here.
What? Why are you being so mean to Willow?
Sorry,
just because
yeah.
she's jingling?
Yeah, she's a jingler.
She actually
shouldn't have-
uses
I
that
shouldn't-
bell to start shit too. Like
Yeah.
she'll just start dingling around the house when she wants something. You're like, oh, Willow wants something. She's dingling again.
She's a perfect example of how like some subtle things can really get on your nerves, and she knows what she's doing.
Oh
too.
yeah. Animals are able to speak with energy.
And bells.
Yeah, bells too. They use whatever tools they've got, which isn't many, because they can't talk, right? They got to figure out some way to get it
Willow
through your
can
thick
talk.
skull. I actually really appreciate how Willow tells me when she needs food, because sometimes I forget now that we've had to move it out of Forrest's reach.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, she's just kind of sweet about it. Like some people say cats are really manipulative, and that's why they don't like them.
Well,
They're
because
just
they
like,
have to be.
But I actually appreciate that more than just like a dog that's just like hammering it into your skull, just like jumping all over you, or just like barking, or, cats at least have a little bit of finesse.
Yeah. I mean, this cat. I don't know about all cats. It's just one of those.
Oh yeah, some of them are just like
oversimplification.
stepping on your face in the morning.
Yeah. If you have a cat that steps on your face, that sounds great.
I have to say though, like I actually really appreciate Willow. She's a total cow to most people because she's got an overactive fight or flight.
She kind of has cowish colors too. She could be a cow.
I've never seen a cow with colors like that.
Really?
Yeah.
But she's like white with some brown.
Yeah.
That's
but
what
then
a cow
also some
looks like.
spots, but some black spots too, and then
Yeah,
like
cows-
a tabby tail.
Okay, I was just
No.
thinking, like, if you look at her and blur your eyes, it could be like, that could be a cow.
Like you're saying Forrest could think she's a cow.
Maybe. I don't know.
We'll never know.
We'll never know.
But I really appreciate about her that even though she is hard to love for a lot of people, she lets me love her, and she's
Right.
actually now been letting Forrest love her, which is so stinking cute. Like I'll be reading a book with Forrest on my lap, and she jumped on my lap today and wanted to sit there with us, and Forrest at first was just like, he had his hands in her fur and he's like scrunching his hands up over and over, but then he got excited and he started to like smack her, and then she was out of there. But
That's crazy. And any other person other than us who would do that to her or try to touch her.
oh yeah, she
would
would
just,
just be
like-
like claws out, like
Yeah.
swat at you and run away kind of thing. She's just very fearful. But she is otherwise not really a bad cat. She doesn't pee on things. She doesn't scratch the curtains. She hardly does any bad things at all. She's a good kitty.
She's a good pussy.
Yeah.
She's a good kitty cat.
Why did that word get taken away from cats?
It didn't in my mind.
Oh, of course it didn't, sweet angel boy.
I'm a sweet angel boy. My mind is pure. Mm-hmm. I mean, at least not intentionally. It just happens. I don't get the dirty jokes right off the bat.
I just love that about you so much because there's no question about you not being a perv.
Yeah, and I'm especially in this day and age. It's like pervs are just. It's not good to be a perv.
No, it's
they're
really
It's
not.
not trending right now.
No, and especially not right now. And like with what happened at the Golden Globes recently, how I didn't actually watch the Globes because we don't have cable, and let's face it, I don't even have time to watch that shit. But apparently the host was just like really leaning into roasting some of the actors who have had like sexual abuse cases against them. And but they weren't at the Golden Globes, so he was just like roasting them, and that was kind of, you know, a big deal for the Golden Globes. But it really had me thinking, like, for instance, I did some research on all of the charges against Kevin Spacey, and I'm just like, holy crap. I mean, nothing has been proven yet, but there are so many people that have spoken out about him, and all of these stories, you're just like, this has been going on for decades, and so many people have known about it, and yet I'm just like, Kevin Spacey's one of my favorite actors. I like that guy. He's got a nice face. His eyes are so kind. He must be such a great guy. And we personify these celebrities and we think we know them. And like people will have arguments about whether they're Team Jennifer or Team Angelina. And it's like, you never know who's a perv, man. Like why do we think we know these celebrities?
That kind of stuff drives me nuts because we see Kevin Spacey, sure, in his roles, but it's not just Kevin Spacey. It's the writers who wrote the script for him. It's the director. It's the team behind him. It's all he's just. I mean, he's like he's the star, but we never really give credit to the team of people that made them that star.
Mm-hmm.
They're just kind of the face. It's like when people go, like, if people like really, hate. So like Katy Perry, for example, some people have a lot of hate on for her, and it's like they just can't see past her. But you don't realize that she's employing a lot of people, and it's not just her. It's a whole bunch of creative people and their vision being put into her work. And yeah, you might not like her style, but it's not her.
Yeah.
It's like her whole team, and that goes for like most musicians out there.
Right.
But we just get so distracted by the star.
Oh,
at the top.
yeah. But then also we just, for some reason, think we need to get all up in their business too. Like, the conflict between Katy Perry and Taylor Swift. And for some reason, we just like need to collect information about this story to find out like really what happened. Ooh, Katy Perry stole some of Taylor Swift's dancers out from under her tour. And, she thought that they were friends. And so then Taylor Swift wrote a song about it. And it's like, we think that we can start to figure out, who did what to who and who's the villain here. And it's like, this is the simplification at its finest. And we don't know these people. They could be pervs.
They could be pervs, and they probably are. But
I just want to say there was something that crossed my mind today. Really a random thing, but these random thoughts come up a lot because I spend a lot of time in the bedroom bouncing Forrest to sleep. I'm putting him to sleep. He's like upright on me because this is how he falls asleep a lot of the times, right? I'm holding him upright with his like head up on my shoulder type of thing.
And I just to pause, to comment on that in particular, that used to bug me. It used that I had to put him down like that. It's just like, because it's not the most comfortable thing.
The bouncing thing? Okay,
but
like we bounce him on an exercise ball.
On an exercise ball, but then there's a point where I just decide to lean into it and really love it. Now it's one of my favorite things.
I know, right? It's actually not bad. And I have come to terms with the fact or the idea that we still have many months of doing that with him. But
sorry,
you know what?
I derailed
Whatever he
you.
needs. That's okay. You know what? I can get back to it. So I'm bouncing him to sleep and, just leaning into it as you do, because you can choose to love it or hate it. And I thought to myself, I'm never going to get to fall asleep like this again. Like at some point in my little baby life, I had the sweetest sleep, like the sweetest sleep setup. You've got like a body that is kind of like contoured to yours that you're sleeping
so
upright
you're saying
on.
that
And when I was a baby, I slept on my mom or my dad like that, and it was the best ever. And I will never get that back again.
No.
You know, when you're like on an airplane and you're trying to sleep, and it's just so uncomfortable because your head isn't supported like enough. You need somewhere for your head to lie that doesn't feel like it's going to roll off your body and you're going to slump right over, because we see that all the time. And
all the time.
On airplanes, you just like see people slumped over trying to sleep.
Oh, yeah.
But babies have got it made. This is like our bodies, and as a parent, you want them to be as comfortable as possible. So you just find like the exact contour that they fit well into. And then they're just like, yeah, mom, that's the best. And they just fall asleep because it's the sweetest bed ever. And we're never going to get that again. And I don't even remember having that. It's just really sad, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And Forrest is not going to remember ever having those awesome sleeps.
Yeah, I guess it's sad, but...
You know why it's sad to me? Is because I haven't had an awesome sleep in like
that
11
is really
months.
sad. That is really sad.
So that's, sleep's on the mind a lot lately.
Right. Oh, my gosh.
Sweet sleeps.
Sweet sleep. Oh.
I feel kind of bad, though, because, like, most people don't feel like they can complain about sleep around me. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I know you feel that way. And there are other people who are just like, oh, I'm just really tired. And then they look at me really embarrassed, like, I'm sorry, I know you're probably way more tired than me. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm kind of like, I'm used to it. Everybody's experience is relative to their own life.
Yeah.
So
if you're used to 12 hours of sleep and you only get 5, a one-off situation, it's going to be way harder for you than it would be for us, who are kind of used to sometimes getting only 5 hours.
Oh man, last night was rough. But I'm getting used to this shit. It's okay. I'm good.
It's okay. We're all good. We're going to live and it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It really shows you what we're capable of.
Is it weird though? Like, I remember before we had babies, it felt like people always talked about the hardships. And I think we mentioned this last podcast too. But now here we are just talking about the hard stuff. But it almost feels like we want to, it's our life now, right? Like baby stuff is our life.
It's so
and talking about the good stuff all the time, it just feels like we're bragging, or it's like really personal, or. But
the good is in the bad. Like talking about how much, like, it's like you climb a mountain. It's so hard to. It's
like a good hike.
Yeah, it's like a really good hike. It's really hard, but you know you're getting stronger. Mm-hmm. It's like working.
That's a good
out.
analogy.
Yeah, and
Johnny, I like it.
Oh yeah, that's what it feels like, anyways. Yeah. And a lot of times you talk about the workout. Like after you work out, are you like, oh my gosh, I feel so good. Look at my muscles. You know, I don't know. I don't really work out that often.
It's kind of like that. Today I had to walk an entire block holding, because I went to a friend's house, but I forgot where they lived, and so I accidentally parked like way too far away. So I'm carrying Forrest and the diaper bag and my purse and a bag of like soups that I'm bringing to them. And on the way back, they gave me like a big thing of blocks. So I'm walking, and I didn't realize it was uphill to the car too. So I'm walking completely laden with all of these things. Excuse me. And Forrest is now like slumping in my arms because he's like trying to reach down to the ground. And I thought my arm was going to fall off. Like my bicep was just shaking. Like I was like doing like my breathing exercises, just like get through it and get to the car. It was pretty outrageous. I'm going to have a sore arm tomorrow, but
wow. And a stronger arm.
Maybe. Exactly. Yeah. It's going to be a little lopsided.
Oh yeah.
For some reason I was carrying most of it on one side, but.
Well, what can we finish off on?
You know what? Can we just talk about the tragic accident that happened today?
Oh,
We had this like awesome.
Well, no, wait. Let's set the stage. Let's just let's leave a little bit of mystery and let's make this a story.
Okay.
So,
how are you gonna make it a mystery? Show me. Lead the way.
Well, we gotta. It's really sad. I want people to know what happened today was really tragic.
There was something that we really waited a long time for.
Yeah.
And we never thought we were going to get it. And we finally did. It was a wonderful happenstance that we ended up acquiring this wonderful thing. And
this thing was something that we've looked at in the past and we wanted but it was just too darn expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't spend that much on this. And so we just settled for what we currently had, which wasn't that great. And we knew we wouldn't have gotten this, but on one fateful day we were in our favorite thrift shop up the street, and lo and behold, the thing we were looking for, it was there.
It was just like,
what?
Us.
And usually something like this would be in this thrift shop would be set out on display. But it wasn't. It was mixed in with all the other things that weren't as good as this thing.
Do you remember when we were checking it out at the counter and the ladies were all just like, oh, what? Wow.
Yeah. That's happened a few times. That's happened with this table that I'm looking at. That's happened with the coat you got. What else? That happened with our coffee maker and this thrift shop. I don't even want to tell
people where it is,
because this is just all the deals are.
We got to keep that secret.
Thrift shop.
So anyway, what happened today is a plate fell and chipped.
So it was a plate.
Yeah. I'm just so sad about it. Denby England is like super expensive flatware, and this
flatware?
Yeah, they call it flatware.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that a British thing?
Because there's silverware and then there's the flatware. It's like,
It's so weird.
But so we, you know what? If it was a set of 5 plates, because you're getting it at a thrift store, it's not always like the right number. But no, it was a set of 4, and this plate,
4 side plates, and 4 like teacups, and 4 like little tea plates. Tea. What are those called?
I think we had 6 of those actually.
Oh, geez.
Saucers, cup and saucer. That's what it is.
Saucer.
What are you laughing about?
It's like we're so domestic.
I was thinking the same thing. This
We're
is like
so
this is the shit that we talk about. Like this is what's important to us is like good plates.
And just despairing over this plate. We're like, oh my gosh.
You know what? But thank you for letting me mourn it, because I know that sometimes you have a hard time with
I honestly, full disclosure, I really don't care.
I know you don't, but you let me mourn it, and that's what matters.
I care about how you feel about it, but me and things, it's just a thing.
Yeah.
You know?
But I still think this is a discussion we had before, where like you have to like have one moment of like, oh, if it was expensive or it was like supposed to be important to you, if you slough it off too quickly, it's like your dog died and you just get a new puppy right away to replace it. Like you're not really dealing with it. You're not really paying tribute to how maybe excited you were when you originally got it.
Yeah, I could see that. But it's hard for me to enter in the mourning phase. I need help with that. Because maybe sometimes I could in the past have gotten carried away with that, and I'd rather just like in the moment look at the thing and be like, evaluate very quickly. This isn't worth my attention, and I just kind of like let it go.
Right,
it feels good. I think
it is good. This is how I do it.
Anytime I get a speeding ticket, I generally don't react.
You just like money's a construct, and you just like
no. I just think, well, I shouldn't have been speeding. That was wrong. It's okay because it all goes back into the system, and these police officers, it's their job. So a lot of people like to get mad at the police officer and play the victim, and I understand that because it's one of those things that you can get caught up in. And it feels it almost feels good to let that out and feel like it's like the back to the conspiracy thing. Yeah,
but you're not really following through with that thought process. Like, oh, okay, they're doing this because it's their job, and I actually, like, if I think this through, I actually was speeding, and this is legitimate. So, but
I'll pay the ticket, and oh no.
But what the value is I think there's a huge value in going, crap, like that's a lot of money, and you're not blaming the officer, but you're going, okay, reevaluating my situation right now. I'm spending this money on a ticket and, that is affecting my livelihood in the funds department. So next time I'm going to A, be more careful in this area, and also B, now I need to pinch pennies a little bit more to make ends meet with, this extra money. It's a thought process that's actually healthy to go through.
Maybe that's how you do it. Maybe we're just different in that way. Because we've had this conversation before, and I just like to let it just go, just let it go. Don't think about it, or think about it, but think about it just more. Be like, okay, that's fine.
That stresses me out.
It's not a big and it's the opposite stresses me out because it's very hard for me to step back and be like, oh, okay, I need to assess the situation and be like really analytical.
You'll just like
about it.
You'll probably just go down an emotional.
And
roller coaster after that, right?
Especially if it's like, now I have to consider my entire financial situation. It's just like, oh, okay, this will be, I'll deal with this when it comes. I don't need to like crunch some numbers in this moment and really think about my entire life. I just have to be like, oh, well, that happened. I'll deal with it. It's
probably like the opposite of that. The way that I do it is the reason I grind my teeth at night.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I feel really fortunate that I mean, there are stressful situations. Like I can think of one really stressful situation right now at work, but it's like the stress doesn't touch me. Like, I don't know. I can.
Such a skill.
It's not a skill. I feel really fortunate. I mean,
talent.
But it's also like, it's also trust. It's a trust situation. And I have a really, really great mentor at work. A shout out Nicole Thompson.
We love you, Nicole.
We love you, Nicole. And
you still have to give her her present.
Oh yeah.
You better give her her present by the time we publish this podcast.
Just tomorrow.
Oh, there we go.
But yeah, she taught me.
Did I? Shoot, this is you always get mad at me for this.
Yeah. It's okay. Yeah, but she basically taught me that to always just trust yourself. Recognize your patterns, recognize that you always get through it, and just believe in yourself more and
have a little faith.
Yeah, have a little faith and trust the process. Know that whatever it is, just go for a walk, clear your head, do some breathing whenever you get into those stressful situations, and just kind of view it for what it is. You just try to get a good handle and just look at the stress as like something separate from you.
Right.
And
it's
just,
like something that your body does almost,
And just believe that you'll move past it. And you always will, and then the worst thing you can do is just get all tangled up in the stress, and that's just going to make it worse and worse and worse. Whereas like in this situation I'm thinking of for work in particular, like I have a deadline next week, and I'm looking at the amount of time I have to do the work that I need to do, and so much of it is like creative decision making, and I can't put a number on that. I can't put time associated to inspiration. Like I don't know. I don't know how long it takes me to get inspired. Like I can ruminate for an entire day or just like spin and not get anything done, or I can get like an insane amount of work done in a half an hour. Yeah, and it's like, but you just gotta like trust in the universe. I guess that's the closest thing right now to like a real tangible spirituality in my life. It's like those moments when you have faith, and you just let go, and you give it up, and you believe that you will get through it. And you will be given the tools, and you will be given the opportunities to really deal with the situation at hand. Yeah. And it's just like allowing yourself to kind of, I don't know, give it all up to the universe.
Yeah, not hold on so tightly. It reminds me of Ray LaMontagne when he said that the way he used to write music was that he would just like torture himself trying to grasp onto this inspiration until he was like in such a devastated state that all of his music always came from like a really dark place, until finally the way that he put it was, instead of trying to catch the fireflies, he just like sat down in the middle of his forest and just like let them surround him, and didn't try to hold them or grasp them. He just let them exist around him. And that's kind of like his analogy for inspiration is you can't expect to grasp it and hold on to it and control it. You need to just let it kind of like flow through you and exist around you and be moved by that.
Yeah, man, I connect with that a lot. And it's always a struggle to get to that point. It's never going to be just like easy. I think the more of a process you give yourself, or like if you meditate or any type of discipline or I guess ritual that you create for yourself to kind of get to that point.
It's a muscle that you can exercise.
Yeah. And that's where I think like meditation really comes in, or prayer, or whatever you want, just to kind of like enter in.
Yeah. It's something for everybody. You know, for me, a lot of the time it's just sitting down and writing. Like maybe that's kind of meditative for me, but also going out into nature. Those are just different ways that it works for me. But I know.
Yeah. Or just like really confronting it, just like not being afraid.
Not like building a bunch of noise in your life to quiet it, you know, like, ooh, I've got to go, you know, for me lately, it's all domestic stuff because I'm home all the time. Like, actually, you know what needs to get done? I got to do some laundry. I got to do those dishes. Ooh, I'm hungry. I'm going to make a sandwich. I'm going to, you know, it's all of these things that you can distract yourself from those moments where it demands you to just sit and be quiet in order for it to come to you.
But see, this is something that I struggle with is I know that my subconscious does most of the work for me. That's why when I have those like really productive moments, like when I can get a lot done in an hour, and the previous day it took me all day to do just the tiniest little things, and I spent most of my time spinning. That time spent what I thought was very unproductive, those are the moments that I'm putting in my mind, my subconscious are connecting all the dots,
putting things together. That's cool.
And creating the opportunity for me to really kill it. And I can't tell the difference between procrastinating and that subconscious, you know, connections. Those subconscious, I guess, connection makers.
Well, that's our baby monitor, and at the same time, no,
I can plug it in right here.
Okay.
You just made a cry face. Let's give some closing statement.
Okay, if I'm going to make a closing statement right now, all I'm going to say is just remember when you go to bed tonight that you'll never have as good of a sleep as you had when you were sleeping on your mom or dad as a baby.
Wow.
And that, I don't know, for some reason that makes me feel a little bit better about the sleep I'll probably have tonight.
Okay, my closing statement is life is hard sometimes. And life is okay. I gotta say
this is so grim.
It's not grim. This is in my heart, and I gotta
get it out.
I gotta open up my heart with my special key, and let all my heart juice just soak into your clothing, and then you'll just walk around with wet, damp heart juice on your clothing. And before I wash it, I'm gonna really let it stain my body. Yeah, stain your body, and then my heart juice will be all over your body. And you will be and you will know. You'll just know. But the point is, was that your closing statement? Was that my closing statement? That should have been a good closing statement. But I think I'm trying to think back to this conversation and what like a good conclusion is. And from what we've learned from parenting, and if something is hard, it's generally you're going to grow a lot from it, and you're going to learn a lot from it, and after that hard period you're going to be better for it. That was like our closing statement from last time. Was it really? Yeah. Oh no. That was like the moral of the story last podcast. Shoot. Well, what's a better moral of the story? Drink more water. Drink water. Yeah, we definitely talked about that in this podcast. But no, we didn't. No, I'm joking. Oh, no, but that's a good closing statement for anybody. If you drink water, you'll be just slightly better off. Drink water and just get some exercise every day. So, yeah, for the closing statement of the Merriment podcast, go drink a big glass of water and then see how you feel. Yeah. And then if you then maybe just drink 2. You haven't been drinking water today. Just think about that. We're looking out for you. When was the last time you drank some water? This was great though, honey. I really enjoyed talking to you. Yeah, this is a good one. It was long. Yeah. And I'm feeling the weight of the length of what time is it even? I don't know. The computer keeps sleeping. Hopefully that's not a metaphor for our listeners.
Oh, I've got a watch on. It's 10:35.
Okay. It sounds like bedtime.
Sure sounds like bedtime to me.
Okay. Well,
All right. Well, I love you, honey.
love you too.
Thanks for the good chat.
Yeah.
We'll
All
talk
right.
to you next week.
Good night.
Hey, we made it through our second podcast. And so did you. Wow, congratulations. We really are making this a regular thing, so why don't you just hit that little subscribe button and join us? We'll have lots of fun together. Next week, in fact, we're probably going to be talking about why the lamp ended up on the floor beside the bed in the morning. Johnny, what have you been doing? And who knows where else the conversation will go, because as you can tell, we don't really know either. Our theme song is made by myself, Carly Jensen, and Johnny Jansen. Johnny Jansen does the audio engineering, and Abby Hoekstra is the talented artist of our thumbnail, who also happens to be my niece. We'll talk to you next week.